What does it mean to be open-minded? Has someone ever just mentioned to you, just be open-minded, and you're thinking, what exactly are you talking about? Or do you ever feel stuck in your own way of thinking, like you're missing out on new ideas and opportunities? So having an open mind can completely change the way you experience your reality. So I'm going to give you real ways that people show themselves that they're open-minded and how you can do that to achieve success. My name is Alex Morgan, and I help you align your actions, your beliefs, your dreams, and your thinking so that you can achieve success. And success is here, and you might as well be ready for it. And one of the easiest ways to be ready for it is to be open-minded. So has anyone ever told you just have an open mind, or you've heard that term thrown around? However, what does it actually mean? And what are some examples of having an open mind in different scenarios, different situations? Because it's not so much just to think in a certain way. There's many ways that you can apply this. So let's have a look at these right now. So one of the ways is you can listen to differing opinions. So example, let's say that you go into a team meeting at work and you decide that you have an intention to listen to every colleague's idea, even if they contradict with your own, instead of dismissing what they have to say. So instead of thinking, oh, well, they don't agree with me, I think my idea is the best, having an open mind means that you're going to ask questions so that you can not only understand, you can appreciate their perspective, you can respect their perspective. And maybe you'll end up even agreeing with their perspective through asking questions before you just reply and say, no, I think that we should do this instead because you like your idea. So let's say that you're used to doing something like that. Listen to different opinions. That's an example at work. You can do this in your personal relationships as well, with friends, with family, with your spouse, whoever it is. Listen to what they have to say. Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand, to appreciate, and respect their perspective before you just go ahead and reply. The next way is embracing new experiences. How many times has someone invited you to try something new, even if you've never heard it before? And instead of saying yes, just because you don't want to have an open mind, you decline it. Well, how is your mind? That's the wonderful thing about the unconscious mind, is it's always gathering data. So how can you have an open mind? How can your mind expand to new things if you're not giving it the data that it needs and approaching things with curiosity? This could be something like a new cuisine that you've never heard of before. For example, when I first moved to Greece, yes, a lot of the ingredients are common things that I would know. However, I started trying all kinds of dishes that I never had actually tried before, the way that they serve it traditionally, especially around certain holidays. If I declined invites and declined trying something, how would I know if I like it or not? So now, when I get invited somewhere, I know whether or not I will like the cuisine. I know whether or not I will find something to order. So that's how I kind of like to look at things here. This is similar to taking a small risk and kind of seeing a big reward, because if you don't try something new and you just stay stuck in the comfort zone, eventually you're going to kind of feel worn out, maybe burned out, stressed out, because that uncertainty is going to be in your mind if you actually would have tried something or not. So if you embrace new experiences and have an open mind doing that, I think it makes it much easier to get into the hyper growth zone, which I talk a lot about here. And that's where you get a lot of rewards for such a small risk. So the next one is changing your beliefs based on new evidence. So let's say you have a specific belief that a certain thing was ineffective. And all of a sudden you started reading some new research, some new evidence, and hearing personal success stories, and then you start to reconsider your stance and give it a new perspective. So think about a time that you were so stuck in your ways about a certain thing, something like that, and then all of a sudden you heard some new research, or you heard a different person talk about it online, and they just communicated it in such a way that you started to change your belief about that. So the wonderful thing about this is you can actually change your beliefs easily and effortlessly all the time if that's what you want to do. And it doesn't have to be a certain belief about a certain thing. This can be beliefs in yourself, like you can make more money, you are more than good enough, you deserve it all and more. So think about how you want to change your personal beliefs about yourselves because you have an open mind. And you can really do this by asking yourself a few questions about the limiting belief that you do have. You can say, when did I decide to create this? What can I learn from this? And what would you like to do, or what would you like to feel instead? And this will get your mind thinking in new choices, new opportunities, and new possibilities. Because a lot of the times when we have a certain belief and we're so stuck in that one belief, we just don't think there's other choices or other opportunities or possibilities out there. And this also happens with negative emotions, particularly a lot of times with things like fear and sadness. A lot of people, they choose fear, they choose sadness when they're so fearful of something. They choose that automatic fear response because that's in their unconscious mind. They're not even seeing that there's other choices, other opportunities and possibilities out there for them. Another thing that you can do to really have an open mind, another example, is collaborating with people who think differently. Let's say you're working on a group project, and now's the time for you to welcome a team member's unconventional approach to solving a problem. What if before you weren't doing that? Instead, you were trying to do things your way, or do things from another trusted team member. However, what if there's someone new and you could just welcome their ideas as well and implement their ideas into the plan, into the project? Because maybe if you really did listen to everyone's idea and you collaborate with different people each time and you take different perspectives each time, don't you think that this would allow you to have different choices, different opportunities, and different possibilities? So when you think about it, all of these things, they can go together because being open-minded involves a few different things. It involves curiosity, it involves flexibility, and it involves a willingness to explore or experiment with new possibilities. And there's going to be many benefits to this: personal growth, better decision-making, stronger relationships. Because think about it, ask yourself this question now: what if you had an open mind in any of the situations that I mentioned? What would this get for you, and what would this allow you to do? So think about that, because this will have your mind thinking in those choices, opportunities, and possibilities. How many times do you ask yourself these forward-thinking questions as opposed to thinking the same thing over and over? And flexibility. Let me mention that. Flexibility is really important because if you want to influence and persuade yourself and other people, behavioral flexibility is really important. That can also be flexibility in your thinking, in your actions, the way you communicate, the way you build relationships. You have to have an open mind to anything and everything and anything. Because if you think about it, the person with the most flexibility, a lot of times they control the system. So in those examples where I'm talking about collaboration, if you're really, really flexible, then you're able to steer the conversation to where you want it to go, even if you're using someone else's perspective, because that allows you to build rapport with the whole group, and they'll trust what you have to say. You build unconscious trust with someone, and they'll feel like they knew you a long time, or they'll feel like they have a friend just like you. They'll start to say these different things. So if you really take having an open mind seriously, and you take action to do that every single day in these situations and many more, think about other ways that you can apply this. What if you applied being an open mind in even more situations? What will that get for you, and what will that allow you to do? Definitely share this with someone else who can benefit from having an open mind and hearing about these examples in these different situations where having an open mind is really important. If you haven't already, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate everyone who's been subscribing lately. It really helps me make more content. Go ahead and comment below. What situation have you seen yourself in, or what situation do you want to be in to where you have an open mind, and it will really help you get what you want. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you on the next video or the next audio.